kind of the jackable trades alternative.
It's another hero to also get on top of this IO. I think there's a lot of game planning for Team Liquid to deal with this IO, which is understandable. It makes sense, certainly. But they're kind of investing, quite a bit to make that happen. But we see who's playing what, or at least in game. We can see. You'll see here soon. It is going to be Paparazzi on the track in the mid matchup against Mickey. Zai is on his Visage and Blue on that Morphling. Now, again, he's the player that we're highlighting. You specifically, Killer Pigeon, in terms of he's the one that he's going to have to shine. He's run all these players on Extreme Gaming that have experience, have history. He's the new blood on the team here in this LAN experience limited. So we'll see how he performs on Morphling. Overall, really shouldn't. It should be a pretty decent game, especially with the Morph target specifically on that Earthshaker. He will have a couple of annoyances to deal with, specifically that Gust.
Yeah, I think here they gave a safe hero, they banned well, and then they enabled themselves. So they Morphling, which should work well here. They get more out of the way that they ban around. This should be a pretty cozy game to open up with Lou. I want to see what they can do in the mid game. I think it's time to get underway with the first game with the last chance qualifiers break. Let's get underway in true TI style, as we couldn't have the opening game not feature an IO.
Here we go. So we're going to be looking at. So I'm getting a little bit of echo in my ear. So apologize for that. Anyway, so do we want to do predictions by the way? As far
oh yeah, you just click this right now. Let me just check what we've got here. So player with highest network by 25 minutes will be Lou. No, I'm going to stop now. But yeah, we'll leave people to figure that out. We don't want to give you too many insights. Like I'm trying to see how this time I think looking at the heroes they've got at their disposal, for Liquid, it's kind of always been this way. Visage has kind of pop off. You want to have that space, and you want to be able to make space in the mid game. On the other side, for me, like XG, I think this Lishrat could rotate a lot and find a lot of impact, especially when it comes to team up order 11, right? So for me, it's 10 part of the mid for XG, and it's 10 part of the off lane for Liquid.
All right, sorry again. I was dealing with a little bit of an echo on my side, but should be good now. Good to go right here. Yeah, it looks like it's pointed out. So the production's on it, guys. Don't worry. I'm gonna take care of it.
I was just ignoring.
It's hard, man. Especially when you hear yourself. It's like that's. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that, but like there's those tests that you can do with like a phone app or whatever, and like slightly echoes your own voice. It's difficult, man.
So the key is to like look yourself and feel like 80% of what you say is irrelevant. Kind of mute yourself out. That's my talent. I think most people as well.
There you go.
Apologies, folks. Hopefully we'll get that fixed quickly. And in the meantime, we'll get on the lane. The opening for this though. I'm kind of feeling like bot lane should be mostly free for the Drow, but at the same time mostly free for the Zendar.
Certainly a bit of back and forth. We see the early grass struggling out with Sania. He's going to use that. Get there. And speaking of harassment, very low.
One more. No, so close. I've got to give credit. What did I mention? Like, Drow's going to have free time, Centaur's going to have free time. The IO included in that assessment. Good lord, that hurts.
Yeah, I mean, they're not looking to deal with it necessarily. Obviously, it's going back to the game plan. Kill the IO here for Team Liquid, and that starts with the laning phase. The early pressure starts Team Liquid at their top lane. We got some initiation. Going to be a little bit of harassment, though.
It's not the worst idea to try this level 1 though, right? Like, the Morphling, this is probably your best opportunity. Once you get 2 points in shift, you just get to watch him farm. Unless you're me playing Morphling, in which case I probably shift too much. I don't think the was going to make nice little toss in the box. A lot of damage looking good, but be careful around that. Box sidestep and PYW in the end. The one's going down. One will keep them alive though.
Wow, that was so close right there for the turret kill. That was a great job on both sides, really. But that kind of goes back to the Marcy bully support, man. That disposed is such a good initiation, especially when you're near the tower. BYW, have that defensive tower right there. Even assist on a Foxy, but just not enough damage. Obviously, close call on both sides. So these two teams not afraid to duke it out early. That is for certain. As Fisher getting closer very low. It's fine. BYW though, but the dispose versus two. Gotta be a little careful about that. It's supposed to be smart.
You're Marcy. You're an anime. We just go in. What are they gonna do? Stop most support in the game right now. It's hard to actually pop a Marcy. I do think the Visage over pick though. Like it just counts out the burst and evens up the lane in the end. My only concern is that more better, right? Once he gets more of mask, he'll just sustain in this lane. The Visage could risk being pushed out slowly. Oh, we done it. Okay, they've done it for the stream. You guys can't hear us twice anymore, which means I'm only half as annoying. We'll persevere.
Okay, so I think I had to make a change on my side maybe, and now hopefully it should be good, but...
Okay.
That hasn't been figured out already. Okay. But yeah, so going back to the Vincent real quickly, as there is harassment bottom lane on ult 11. Low once again. He's got DY support.
Denied.
Of that from the IO to keep him line. Something we have been seeing on these Vintages, though, is that the Agabus out here, the silent has been great effect. I'm curious to see. It's maybe that bottom. That is going to go down. First blood will come out for the side of Extreme Gaming. There you go. Crawling. Plenty of it. Finally, we have a first blood as a result.
I want to know how long it's going to take. I mean, I said she should have somewhat of free lane, but positioning is key here, and rotation on point. Like overall, I think like that's always been the trick with Drow is we haven't got this frontline bully. Like a Treant comes to mind was one of the classics. If you're playing with a hero like Shadow Demon, you have to play very passive, shall we say, with your positioning. You can't really aggro, and it does get annoying because traditionally, like Drow is the type of hero that should be able to all book a hero out the lane. I respect that iron movement speed, man. Like, it can just easily catch you out of position in the matter of seconds. So, good opening. Gives a good start for Centaur. And I think it's important to kind of get him off to a good start, right? Like, his goal is just to get a blink as quickly as possible and then look to enable other heroes on the map.
Absolutely. And, you know, as much as I would love to say we're going to see a Scepter this game from Centaur, that probably is not. Albeit is entertaining.
Yo, come on. No, I need it, man. Like you throw your IO in the back, but he's still tether to you.
Hey, there could be some quirk. If this game goes really late, you never know. I mean, anything is open as far as a possibility, right? Gonna take some damage up here, by the way, as Boxy stomps it. It's more plain. He's fine. YW with the response. This goes backwards.
I mean, Boxy's the one who's going to get roughed up here, though, in a little bit too deep. He does get the Marcy in the end, courtesy of the Soul Assumption coming up from Zai. So, in the end, it is a 1-for-1 exchange. It has forced the eye up here, which means the Centaur is now alone. Instant result is he has to back up entirely as he's now in a 2-on-1.
5.5 minutes in. It's 2-1. It could be plenty more. With the way this game has been started, but I just love to see the action because, you know, especially with the first game of the day, early morning, you never really know what kind of style of play we're going to see from the teams. Is it going to be very timid, you know, really sitting back? It's the TI-11 after all. You know, pressure's on. Or is it just going to be, let's go, baby? And I think it's the last.
Yeah, let's go. Woo! TP to my top. That's the classic issue, right, in this type of lane. You have one stun, and that's it. And then as soon as you use it, it's going to be a TP away. I like the fact that they're playing off of Centaur's lane, though. This is pretty cool. This is something that I think the Chinese Dota was quick to at the start of this year and seems to have somewhat kept a hold of, is the overwhelming shift of supports towards the mid lane around the 6-minute mark. It gets rune control and it gets you bullish opportunities to kill. Unfortunately, in this game, it's against a Void Spirit, not the easiest of heroes to pick out.
Simulate, of course, makes it a pretty easy escape for Mickey in the end. Now he also has that Astral Step, so ganking the Void Spirit is really an impossible task at this point in the game. It seems like a lot of lanes. Gank is going to be a 3-man gank coming up for Extreme. Insania getting some response from Drow. Nice job with the disruption as well. The turn on the DY is, no, it's not going to be enough. Yes, it is in the end. Insania with the poison.
Just an annoying hero. I believe level 2 poison as well, so it's really going to start stacking up here. That's unfortunate. It almost feels like they're on the clock in their eyes, right? They want to get 6 first on the center, otherwise he gets pushed out of lane by the Drow. So I understand the pressure, but it's a little bit hard to find. However, the jump in, the stomp follow-up, beautiful turn, gets rid of the Drow. PYW makes sure the rotation isn't for nothing.
I understand why Marcy isn't banned. I mean, there's a lot of heroes you got to ban, but man, it's when stuff like that happens right there. It's just like, come on. If you don't have that first pick, not banning Marcy, oh, that's so risky. But yeah, Team Liquid falling into the trap right there. Drow Ranger gets picked off. Now, Drow, speaking of him though, it's an okay start. He's got his power treads. Certainly a lot of room to make up. Is actually, as I said, the okay start is the worst farming core in the game right now at 2,500 net worth. So definitely need to get that Drow farm enhanced, specifically by coming to the mid lane. Looks like it's going to be the play with Magellan Man rotating there. Mid-game level 7. He'll start heading towards the top lane, meet up with the Earthshake perhaps, and go for a play of sorts.
Yeah, I think one of the nice things about Drow is you can kind of offset some of that farm loss by just getting level 6, right? Because that's going to enable you to farm a little bit faster because you get those free stats. We're going to get 6 for free in this game, I'm afraid. PYW showing you exactly why Marcy is picked so bloody much, but the turnaround's going to come in. Nice drag back with Simulate follow-up as well. A lot of damage here, but the Stampede able to break them off. And Boxy now turned upon here. Too much damage coming out from the Disco Pony. It's a double kill for Paparazzi, and that is exactly why Leshrac is a pain in the ass.
Well, yeah, and several more reasons as well, but that is absolutely one of them, especially when you have the IO support. You know, you talk about the IO synergy with heroes. Leshrac is up there on that tier list, I think it's very safe to say, especially right now, in terms of heroes to pair with. So with that 3rd and 4th pick coming out for Extreme Gaming, already doing wonders for them. And Paparazzi, he's not looking to stop anytime soon. Why would it? They're controlling the jungle right now. They understand this Drow especially is very underfarmed. You mentioned KP. They need level 6 on Magellan Man. He's not even there yet. He still isn't level 6. At 9 minutes into the game, the struggle continues, but will hit it now, as he's going to kill a couple more creeps at the top. But it's a very smart of Extreme. To the point, they're addressing the weak factor in the Drow early on with the laning phase, before level 6 especially, and they're controlling the bottom part of the map. So in response, Team Liquid is attempting to control the top side now. They did get the tier 1 with Zai on a Visage.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? The Visage is doing well, takes the tower, expected rotations, but now the Drow needs the space. So the argument is, where's Visage? Like, can you shift him bot? Can he park himself in those lanes, or is it a bit too hard? Feels like wherever Marcy is, nobody can be. Once again, jumps in, and okay, I've got an idea here, Breaky. You know, we could say nerf Marcy, but I like to be creative. How about this? The nerf for Marcy is you have to roleplay Marcy as the player, so you get muted in game, in team comps. That's my balance point. There you go.
I like how we're already talking about nerfing Marcy in game 1 of the LCQ. KP, it's a long
Gotta get in there early, my friend.
Speaking of Marcy, gonna get pulled in right there slightly, but that was because Void Spirit attempting to get away for good reason. So that goes back to Void Spirit, obviously one of the more difficult targets to jump even for the Marcy, but still, PYW, why would he slow down? I mean, he's level 5.5. He's used to making plays left and right. Currently sitting at 1, 1, and 3. Been involved in 4 of the 6 kills. But yeah, not a lot of talk, or not a lot of focus on Zai. Zai's kind of quietly, as it tends to do, a lot of these games for Liquid, quietly doing his thing. He's got his Vlad's offering early on. And to the point I was making earlier, is the idea of we're going to see an Ags on him or not. I think this game maybe expect to see more of these heavy aura builds instead. You know, maybe the late game Axe could come into play to help once again kill that IO especially. But I don't know if we should expect to see in this game, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think what we're going to have to focus on right now is the fact that this mid tower, the more I think about it, the way they've been utilizing that, it's almost like Leshrac could take at this point, but the risk is too high, and instead they're fishing kills every time someone comes there for XP. And I like that Liquid has now deviated away from that. They're like, no, that we're kind of baiting ourselves in. Just park Zai in that lane because he can't be killed that easily. And let's go hunting. Unfortunately for them, XG Spidey senses are tingling, and the only person who they're going to find is the hardest kill possible for them. Old 11 in the area.
Coming in. 11. Speaking of being in the area, he's got plenty of backup. Within this 3-player smoke for Extreme, and they found initiation. They find Shadow Demon. That's going to be a free kill. Can they get more?
A chase on in, Stampede comes through. Maybe they can find it. The toss back just in time. Matumba Man thought he was safe to get out, but XG just so quick and vicious on these counter rotations.
Mid lane? Nope, never mind. That might have been a play right there, but little Zai's gonna have to resummon, if anything, using his ultimate. But yeah, that's Extreme is just playing clean. I think that's a good way to describe it, right? They're playing clean Dota right now. They're moving appropriately throughout the map. They're taking advantage of the lack of early farm for the Drow, knowing that she needs to recover. I keep stressing that point. And it doesn't feel like Liquid has a lot of plays right now to be able to deal with that. I think at this point, they need a blink on Earthshaker. That ain't happening anytime soon, KP. So Voxy has a lot of recovering to do. But Lou, a kill on him would be good. That's not going to happen either.
So here's the tough thing to think about. Like to your point, they're having a hard time, but Lou's having a great time. And this is kind of key. The way that XG do this, they haven't necessarily changed this element to their game style since the start of this year. They like to play as 4 and let Lou just farm on these heroes like Morphling, TP, and he'll come in later. He's basically just getting a free AFK game. He's PvE right now. Everyone else is PvP. And the unfortunate detail on this is like your mirror comparison on the other side is the Drow, who is the poorest core, but also, if you think about it, is the best solution to everything that XG does. Right? We're thinking Agshot down the line. You're thinking about the healing reduction on the IO, on the Leshrac, on the Morphling. Like, Drow has to do a lot this game, but right now doesn't have a game whatsoever.
Well, the grind continues for Liquid. They got to recover after this early deficit. Now, again, big picture, it's only 3,000 net worth. But yeah, Extreme has a 4-player smoke going on right now. They scanned, by the way, the Roshan pit. It hit. The Centaur going to miss the stomp right there because of the reactions of Mickey. That was a valiant effort, but slightly better reaction from Mickey coming out. But yeah, that's a blink at a Vanguard already on the Centaur. KP. That's going to be difficult to deal with for Liquid.
Now, the good news, at least, is they didn't lose Matumba Man again. That's what my old god was all about. I thought they were going to rotate right up into the high ground, even blindly, just because of how strong they are right now. But XG remaining somewhat contained. And this tier 1 is still standing, but it's more through design, right? Like, XG, they don't want to risk losing the Leshrac, and they are up against the Shaker. So I just love the way that they're not over-pushing their lead.
We already have a Bloodstone, by the way. Speaking of him. Now you talk about this is the only hero. I'm going to go on. It really is the only hero this kind of is viable on, especially ones that are relevant in the competitive scene. So, but it is very good on Leshrac. It's kind of funny we have an item in the game that's like literally just for one hero, but he loves it. And you can see right here how he's just able to take out these stacks, including the Ancients, of course, with the IO support as well. But that farm ain't slowing down anytime soon. For the Leshrac, and that's the play now for Extreme. They're hanging as 3 around the Morphling with the Centaur and the Marcy, and then the IO Leshrac, they're ready to relocate if need be. It's just they're so on point. Again, I continue to be very impressed with how Extreme is just playing this game so fluid.
Now, hear me out. I said for the Marcy, I gave the idea for how we nerf her. Here's my idea for Leshrac. We just send him to a blue factory. Yeah, I don't want to deal with it. This hero. I'm going to be vicious about it because I'm going to low-key going to say I think this hero is going to be pretty potent in TI. I think like you just hit it on the head. It's the only hero that really can justify Bloodstone that Bloodstone feels amazing on. I think we're going to see a lot of IO creeping back in as well as these buffering or stabilizing type heroes like Omni Knight. And any time you have a meta where heroes like that and Undying are viable is a patch where Leshrac can be good.
You're telling me IO is going to return for TI once again and be a big factor? What? Mind-blowing right now.
Boss 1, IO coming back? Nah. Maybe mainly support, but yeah, it just feels like we can never get away from this hero, right? Like, Dota 2 just works
specifically,
roundabouts.
Crazy how this hero just... Again, and not to say he's been underpicked throughout the season by any means, but TI especially, when TI comes around, there really is one hero that comes to mind for me personally, and that's IO. But we got a mid-play perhaps coming out. Centaur's going to port to the bottom lane as Morphling will just comfortably take out the tier 1 mid via reload game. They're going bottom for the play on his eyes. Is it going to be time? No, not.
Nope. They forgot about the birds.
Well, they tried.
And then now they're going to reload back, and I don't think IO's bringing friends with him. They're just going to have to accept that the little ball, there's not going to be much help here.
Our paths are...
Yeah, manages to get the mech, though, despite that death, so DY gonna accept his break for the next 20 seconds. Kind of stretch a little bit, I'm sure. Continue to wake up here in the early morning in Singapore.
Oh, that would be great if we just if we just check the cameras of whoever's dead and like they actually have to do exercises, right? Because we're all about gamer health here. We don't want them to have like, you know, clogged artery and die at 34.
Get that physical activity going, yeah. Well, hey, you do well at TI, you got plenty of money, and then let's just say that can help you too, I suppose. Morphling? He's fine. I'm not even sure what Liquid would necessarily had in mind there. They ain't killing his Morphling, that's for sure, especially with the score nearby. And a quick teamwork comes out as a result.
They just go and they're like, is it a Morphling? Yeah, it's a Morphling. Okay, I don't know what we're doing here. This is not the one we want to go after. It's such a hard kill right now. I mean, he's got Dragon Lance, he's got Manta. It's close to 10k net worth. Like, the Leshrack's been popping, but all of a sudden out of nowhere, Lou's farm has accelerated, and this game is getting very scary.
Haste.
We do see, by the way, Shadow Demon Insania prioritizing the shard for the Demonic Cleanse. So, Demonic Cleanse now online for Insania, but, you know, kind of really just goes to show you how, I don't know if that's an out of key goes for necessarily, if they're ahead as, oh, speaking of being behind, Zai, he's going to feel it as he drops the 5-player gank from Extreme. Even with the fissure response, it just doesn't matter. I mean, Roshan's open. They could just simply walk into the pit and get a free Roshan. That's what they're doing.
I mean, this game is looking quite out of control. Like, it's only a 4k net worth lead, but I'm going to bring it back to the previous point, Breaky. One carry, top net worth, other at the bottom, and the one at the bottom is the key to cracking XG's lineup. But I don't see him getting there anytime soon. It almost feels like XG is just playing too clean right now. Maybe Liquid could smoke up and try to make some plays with their Shaker and their Visage. But who do you go after here? I feel like XG is just really well grouped, and now with the Aegis on Morphling, they can play 4 and leave him on his own.
Noticing some item pickups coming about right here. Kaya picked up by the Void Spirit. Go with his Witchblade. Does have the Ags queued up, and I was thinking about this earlier with the Resonant Pulse. Again, yet another tool that is pretty good overall this game. That silencing effect and the couple of charges, certainly nice to have against really any of these heroes, so especially of course Leshrack and Morphling, and of course Io. So that'll be a nice tool to take advantage of if and when he can there. Liquid's going for a play though. They find Io. Can they kill the yacht? Okay, yes, they do have enough block.
Radiant's top tower is under
you don't even question it, okay? That Io is 100% dead. The important detail is the Terror is still active, so Disco Pony at least gets the lead. But I'm just looking across at the Shaker, man. Like, these type of plays are going to be hard to follow up until he's got a Blink Dagger. Then we've got 500 on the bank, and, you know, he's going to be going for that Ag Shot first, which is going to give him that kind of pseudo-Blink effect. But it's going to be very difficult to get maximum impact out of your Shaker in this mid-game when you need him most.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, absolutely. It's an item that, like I kind of talked about with the Shadow Demon as well, I kind of just have to settle for this, right? If you had a much better start, certainly would accelerate towards the Blink first, you'd think, perhaps, but hey, at least having the shard effect of the Fissure, a nice tool to take advantage of. They need more and more of that lockdown. Now, as I say this, Morphling is also getting very close to his own Aghanim Scepter, and that morph ability becomes much stronger, especially if morphing into the Earthshaker. Could morph into the Drow for even more effect there. So it'll be interesting to see what Lu decides in these fights in reactions. But Extreme Gaming at the time, they have the Aegis still up on Morphling, another 3 minutes. So still plenty of time, but they're feeling comfortable about at least pushing this bottom tower. I don't know if Liquid's going to necessarily respond. They want a couple of tools before they take a big fight here, including that Ags on Void Spirit, I think is...
Yeah, so they have a few options here. They could go bot and die, or they could not and live. It's that much of a difference. Like, it's so tough to defend this tower. I think you just let it go for free, but the problem you now have, you only have 1 tier 2 remaining. Like, you could end up your high ground very quickly. And all I keep looking at is that goal for the Shaker, man. Like, the Shaker's the poorest in this game, and that isn't by design, by the way. Like, in an ideal world, they wanted more gold on Boxy. It's just like, how do you farm a Shaker in this game? Because you're not killing, right? But you can't push waves either because you'll get jumped. So that's why Shadow Demon has more gold. It's just simply this hero can safely push, and poor little Boxy here is waiting for the day where his team can fight.
A Visage Drow, great combo, great, you know, physical presence, especially of these auto attacks. Well, an item that's pretty good against that KP is a Crimson Guard. And sure enough, that's where he prioritized that understandably early on. He now has a Hooded Defiance as well, and this is a setup from XG. You got defense here at the tier 2.
Centaur is going to be dragged in, can't get away from Echo Slam fall. Looks beautiful, but not good enough. Will at least get the eye, but they want paparazzi. If the chase continues, they need to be careful about this though. And Lou, you can see he's just going to front line, turn around on him and push him away. So we'll get the space, a good initiation out of Liquid, but we're hoping for more there, which is why they're still pursuing. However, they are not enough to find it.
Attack.
You know, a little bit of Caster's Curse. I know you're very familiar with that as by the way, Lou's going for a Blade of Void Spirit. First damage.
Wait, no,
it's not enough.
He's fine, right? Yeah, he should be fine. There's no way BK thinks he can take that.
No, but to the point of that fight, though, it's I was just talking about Centaur and great item with the Crimson card. You know, extra tanky now. Go figure. Now, there was a lot of magic damage, specifically the Echo Slam that came out. Great positioning by Boxy, able to actually get the positioning in there to help set up that kill onto the Centaur. Speaking of kills, pretty easy one happening on the Shadow Demon. But, you know, really big picture after that fight. I think Liquid, that's got to feel good, right? Like, they finally had a fight go their way, but Zai is in trouble now.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit rough. He should be able to get out. Once again, the rotation not quick enough. Like, I've got to give it to him. Zai's been on point with the familiars to protect him, but the problem is, like, you're not getting anything elsewhere, right? Like, when you see actually make this type of play, you want to be able to make some sort of counter play elsewhere on the map. It's just not happening for him. BYW. Yeah, no, I was about to say, like, I don't think Marcy gets this. This is why I didn't go into the play-by-play mode there. If she did, I'd once again go on about ideas for nerfing her. But
maybe that's why PYW slowed down. Was like, I don't want KP to talk about more nerves.
Please don't drop the hammer. But you see what I mean with the issue, right? Like, these type of plays, actually, even when they don't work, the issue for Liquid is they're not able to find any counter kills. They're not able to find objectives elsewhere.
Yeah, it's... there really isn't much else to say about this right now. I'm sure, you know, Blitz is kind of sitting back, their coach, and, you know, having a similar feeling, I would guess. I mean, he's obviously a lot more knowledgeable than me and certainly has maybe a bit more insight as far as what they could be doing here. But playing patient, I think, is one direction he would certainly say. So I'm kind of channeling my inner Blitz here. And guys, be patient. We have plenty of late game. Our connection really is this Drow, especially she's level 15 now. She actually picked up her Aghanim Shard as well. We didn't talk about that yet. So she's got those Frost Arrows, working on the Yacha. But before she gets that, they are going to make a smoke play here. So I say play patient. Well, they figure they have a timing now of a 5-player smoke, and they're scanning the dire jungle. Unfortunately for them, Extreme isn't necessarily there.
They might be, though.
In a very defensive posture.
They just got the scan. Paparazzi's hesitant, though. They don't see anyone out on the map, so they already knew the smoke was coming as a result of that. And now they have to contend with Old 11 leading the way. Oh, that shard you mentioned on Drow could be big here. Keith Cheese has been getting on top of it. The jump is going to come in on the Leshrac. Looks like it should be a burst down with the turnaround. Echo Slam is trying to start around upon him, but Marcy, chased down on the side, is going to fall. And now Centaur will look to walk away. But here comes the turnaround. Morphley moves in and Breaky. Can he do this on his own?
I don't think he can. That was a very risky play right there. Lou is going to have to get back. The Gust will be avoided, thankfully, for Lou, and manages to survive. But another fight for Liquid that they definitely win on paper. It started with that huge burst up front of the Leshrac, and I was actually surprised to see Extreme, honestly, respond right there after Leshrac got blown up as quickly and as hard as he did. But it's almost like they were pissed off. And frankly, that almost bit them in the ass. But they did manage to recover. Lou specifically stayed alive and goes back to farming. So that's kind of the good news for Extreme, and he certainly has still a big lead. But this goes back to Liquid and the idea of that patience. They are still in this game. Clearly, when it comes to team fights, that's 2 in a row now that they've definitely won, right?
Definitely. I think it is like the Ag Shard on the Timmerman is a big deal breaker now for XG. It's the reduction in healing that's really going to cripple XG in prolonged fights. And what did we say in the draft? Like, XG, they drafted for prolonged fights because of their sustainability. Why this is so important, I'm not just like a big Drow fan or a big Matuma fan in this situation. It's if you look, Liquid don't have a Spirit Vessel, which would have been the alternative to all this healing, right? They couldn't get an AA because they got banned, and it makes sense to have a Spirit Vessel. There's no hero that wants to justifiably build in this game. So that's why the Drow should be really impactful with this Ag Shard now. And I like the fact that they're trying to unlock her as a fighter. They realize there's no longer room on the map for them to farm.
You know, and I was going to bring this up as well. We are starting to see the progress of a BKB being purchased by Leshrac, and kind of goes back to the amount of the silences, especially with the Zags coming out for Void Spirit that he has now. The amount of stuns, crowd control in general that Liquid has. These cores of Extreme certainly could use that, and so he's working on it as we see initiation here on Visage.
Jump in here. Looks like they should be able to get easy thing, but once again, Drow on the high ground, that damage coming out, the heal reduction just too much overwhelms them. They'll look to run away. They're going to be leaving some teammates behind. Io's dropped as well. Follow-up is looking good, and Liquid are clawing their way back into this game.
Axe on Void Spirit is doing work. Now, as I say this, Mickey needs backup. He needs support, getting a disruption to dissimulate away. He'll dissimulate. He'll be fine. Paparazzi in pursuit. The fissure from Blue. It does connect from the Morphling. However, PYW went too far. That's start the save. Not enough. He's down for 50 seconds. Doesn't have buyback. Down goes Shadow Demon. And Lou is going off on this Morphling now. Paparazzi, I suppose he's doing plenty too. The Pulse Nova active and using that BKB for the first time. Zai will run. And what was another great fight initially for Liquid, eventually Extreme Gaming breaks through and capitalizes on that overextension.
Yeah, Liquid, you can feel the confidence swinging for them, but they've still got to show some respect to this Morphling. Yes, they can easily take out these heroes when they overreach a little bit, but XG still have this bull factor to them. I think Liquid, they can still loom this threat once they have a blink on the Shaker, right? Because that's when he's still got the Echo Slam follow-up, so XG still have to play a little bit restricted, but right now, you've got to respect XG's ability to kind of ball her in his 5, but credit where credit is due. I mean, Liquid, they are starting to punish these frontliners that should be free in this game. See if Matumba's man is impact now.
Yeah, now, kind of going back to the point I was talking about before that fight, it's, you know, understandable that Morphling isn't prioritizing the BKB. He's got the backup. He has a Manta already, which does take care of a lot of that, and especially with the morphing into something like an Earthshaker, he's got that mobility as well, the added mobility. So instead of going the route of a BKB himself, he is going to go the Iascati, which, hey, you know, the classic Morphling mentality of just buff up more stats, especially. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So Lou continues to be that raid boss, dare I say, that Liquid is going to have to figure out a way to defeat. And, well, usually a raid boss, you want to kill the ads first. So if I can make that kind of comparison here, that they want to kill the supporting cast, right? It's as simple as that if you're Liquid, and then deal with the Morphling in the end. I admit, though, kill efficient, that is a lot easier.
Yeah, sounds to me like you're trying to get that WoW casting career started here as well, Breaky, you know? You gotta get in there next, but no, I
may have played a little bit of WoW recently.
Oh yeah, everyone's getting back on that. Except some of us that just we're back in the Dota basement all times, right? I mean, especially these players, they probably wouldn't have looked at any other games. It's kind of funny actually to kind of think the amount of hours that Dota 2 pros put in per day. Like I've watched them. Yeah, especially compared to other scenes. Like I've done a little bit of work in Rocket League, and apparently it's not uncommon for players to play like 2 or 3 hours a day there. I'm like, what? Dota 2 is 10 hours plus, and if you see your family, you're doing it wrong.
It is life, especially for these players in this event. Every single competitor here, but we got a Roshan KP being attempted from the side of Extreme Gaming, and it's more of a bait. That's exactly what this is. Extreme Gaming not necessarily looking to commit to the Roshan. They're trying to bait out Liquid into a poor positioning. Now they're going to 5-player smoke and wrap around. This could catch Liquid off guard. Now Zai does have a familiar in front. Try to protect them, but Old 11 looking for that opening. As soon as he sees somebody, he's going to be jumping in, catches the Visage, immediate gust comes out, and Crimson Guard put up as well. Marcy will jump in, but she got 7 meters about the picture, and down she goes to someone on board. Centaur's locked up in the midst of the fight. He ain't tanky enough.
Gonna back away now. He gets the Stampede out just before dying. DY should be able to skip the tree line. Maybe not. Can't get away quick enough. Too much damage and the control good. Liquid punished the attempt by XG, and courtesy has to be given across, credit rather, giving across where it's due to Liquid here. Zai is being on point in this game. He protects himself time and time again through the early phases of the familiars, and now he's doing so much overtime in terms of scouting vision. I think like Zai has actually been really key in them recovering this game. Like if you think about from the rotations where they couldn't punish him, right, he kept getting out when he should have died, to the way he's restricting where XG can play in these initiations, he's been key to them clawing back into this.
You know, KP, I definitely want to give a shout out to you as far as the comment you made earlier with the shard pickup on Drow, because I wasn't even necessarily thinking about what the reduction. It's
so
the
good.
regen reduction is absolutely bonkers this game. And it's certainly multiple reasons why they're able to, or one of the many reasons I should say, why they're able to kill the Centaur, especially in both the other cores, you know, right? Both Morphling and Electric certainly rely on the region, and hell, you have the IL support. So that is doing work. And whenever you have a Drow in your lineup too, the number one mentality as a team is protect the Drow at all costs. And the Visage specifically, Void Spirit causing chaos in the backline, then Void Spirit is going to find a kill on the Marcy here with some team support. Marcy attempting to jungle a little bit.
I think it's time we talk about ways that we can buff Marcy, because she really seems to be struggling.
That is a cursed comment right there.
Swings and roundabouts, man. You got to change your mind as the game changes, right? But yeah, you're starting to see where the Marcy falls off here. Like, she can't just play wide anymore. XG's plan isn't as clear anymore, because before they were confidently playing split on the map. They were able to roam wherever they want. But Liquid have found that confidence. And to your point around like the Drow Ranger and the Axe Shard, it is big. It's 10% health reduction, and it means everyone needs to fear this game. Morphling needs to fear his own presence right now. Looks like Insane. He can't grab him quick enough, so he will be able to make his escape. So this is the other nice thing about having a Void Spirit, right? Is you're just able to play very confidently forward in areas you don't have vision, especially against this type of lineup, because they don't have great lockdown.
Yeah, that's actually, you know, a good counterpoint to the side of Extreme, where we talk about plenty of crowd control on the side of Liquid. Extreme, I mean, they got some, but it is this reliant on Centaur jumping in and starting everything. Because, you know, outside of that, sure, Marcy could do her part, but that really is all there is that they are relying on in these fights. And we've seen now time and time again in this game that Centaur will do so, only to be quickly turned on, despite how tanky it feels like he should be. Now, he did pick up the Heaven's Halberd, so you talk about another item to, of course, improve its tankiness with the evasion, especially in the strength game, but effect of the disarm certainly viable against the Drow if he can manage to use it on him. But how about this? Liquid is pushing uphill. So with the Drow having the Aegis, she has a BKB. Liquid feeling like this is a timing right now that they can take advantage of. You know, well, with the Aegis, it certainly makes sense. They're controlling the map here.
Man, the Timberman always looks so calm and cool when you see him on the cameras, right? You saw him, they like chewing gum or something, right? He looks like the badass of the game right now. And it's kind of funny to think how he's slowly become the badass of the game. After the start of his game just kind of looked ass, right? Like, he was the poorest core for a long time. His relevance wasn't felt. Confidence is starting to search for this guy, and you can see that XG, they can't initiate on him. Nice Manta dodge out from Matsu. Does bait in the Centaur. We'll look to follow this up. Down to half HP. Paparazzi has to dive in with the BKB activated, but Timberman chased onto here. Aegis now gone. It is going to give the reset opportunity, and Shaker giving back the reinforcements. But what can they do here? Reiki, do you think that they can actually make this work? It looks like it's going to backfire on them.
And they're going in. They want to make this work. Guy with a relocate on the loose, setting his ground. Very strong Centaur stop. Zai in the midst of it. Talk about being tanky. He's himself with us on Kiros. Morphling now being locked down. Can't do have enough locked to follow up. Dissimulate on top. No, he's going to use it to get out actually over here. We see left track down. And finally happening. Not the biggest one of the century. But a little bit of damage from Boxy, but it ain't going to be enough. Liquid's falling now. And Extreme pushing out. And they're also going to catch the Visage in the back. So they turn around and realize Zai's still hanging around. It's like, oh, we're dead. Shadow Demon, let's make it all 5. For Lou. That's it.
You know what? That's crazy, actually. Liquid looked like they found some momentum, some confidence after they got the BKB off when they came back to life with Timberman. But credit where credit is due. XG reset correctly. They get the Shrek out, and they realize that Lou is just unhinged at this point. Like, they can't do anything about him. Like, it's just the power of this Axe field against the Shaker. And to their credit, the way they drafted this, right? If you think about the Morphling, level upon level here, right? The Baron AA we talked about already. The fact that they've got a lot of heal, they've got a lot of sustain, and also Morphling can play independent of the need for the eye to save him. Then on top of that, he gets mobility, not just from the Stampede, but because his opponents pick the Shaker. Like, it's all coming together, and it shows you why this Morphling is such a ridiculously powerful pick in this game.
Radiant's middle barracks are under
something else to note with that fight as well. He morphed into the Drow from the very beginning. They were on the uphill defense, morphing into the Drow, which, you know, a couple things, not only the skill set of the Drow, of course, that it brings to the table, but on top of that, it actually increases its attack speed with the axe and agility. So he was just firing like a turret and doing plenty of damage as a result there. So again, curious to see if that's what he continues. Like I said, it's more of a in the circumstances depending on who's better target to go for. But on the uphill defense and a big reason of that fight, I think morphing into that Drow certainly played high impact. But yeah, Extreme Gaming, talk about swings this game. We've had a couple now. I believe this is their biggest lead at 8,000 net worth, it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
for side of stream. So again, feeling cozy. And well, we got some tier 4 neutral items coming out around the corner. The next couple of minutes here, we'll be seeing those dropping out, and those could certainly play a big role too.
I'm trying to think like what is the most sexy items we could look to see come out here. I think like Timeless Relic for the strat could be huge here, especially when you can see these BKBs are going to be getting shorter, and actually, to be honest, only one member of Liquid has it. So I think that's a big one to look towards. Flicker is always a beaut to have. That move speed is so actually useful in a hero like the Disco Pony as well. Like, maybe I'm just Leshrac-minded right now. Everything I'm looking at in tier 4, like, I don't think there's any hero in the game that's going to benefit more from these items than Paparazzi.
He'll take what he gets, and there's plenty of good options for him. So we are hitting that mark. So this is, yeah, well, we see the Liquid. In fact, there we go. Timeless Relic already picked up for them for a decent start. Try to control that jungle, you know, go for the jungle creeps to get those items. But Extreme's almost like, you know, they're 5-player smoking. I thought they were going to go pretty aggressive into the jungle, thinking that might have been what Liquid is doing, but they don't necessarily beeline it. They're going to play pretty passive. This is just illusion battles going on here in the middle.
A little bit surprised by this, that they chose to give the Timeless Relic to Void Spirit over maybe the Shaker. I guess they feel like they don't need the extra lockdown as much as they need the extra damage, and I might get put to the test very soon. XG were moving in looking for a fight, but Liquid they will restrict themselves considering that they have 2 heroes in the top lane. 2 heroes that run into quite a little kerfuffle here if they're not careful.
To the point, though, about the Timeless Relic on Void Spirit, I think it also, the reasons why, you know, it definitely makes sense at the same time is Mickey is spamming the Resonant Pulse to simulate in these fights. He is controlling, he's creating the chaos. Yes, Earthshaker is great for that lockdown in these fights, but Mickey is absolutely the chaos creator in these fights, and I think you could certainly argue the main reason why Liquid is able to come out on top of some of these fights. So the more he can use his abilities, the better. And so, yeah, I see the value there in what they're thinking.
Definitely. I think it's the case the Shaker's a bit more contained in how you use that item as well, right? Like the Void Spirit, to your point, he's able to freely go in and out as well. So there's more opportunities. All right, a little bit too close, touching a little bit of cloth there. Manages a TP out just in time.
Earthshaker still with no blue. That is kind of crazy.
please, you're hurting me. We're almost 40 minutes into the game. He's got 1,500 gold together. What is... Okay, I'm just going to say it now. There's going to be a fight, and he's going to have to buy back before he gets Blink.
Yeah. Maybe.
Like, oh, God, it hurts to say. But...
They definitely should be prioritizing farm on him with that. I mean, they need that Blink, but they aren't necessarily doing that. I'm actually a little surprised. I mean, sure, you want to get your chorus farm too, but that does feel like one of those items that, hey, you know, Boxy, take a couple of these jungle creeps, maybe push out this lane with the Visage supporting you, you know, behind. I know it's, again, a lot easier said than done, but trying to put, right, he's literally just standing here, you know, kind of just controlling the map with the team and, you know, giving out information, protecting the Drow, I suppose. So to that point, they aren't really prioritizing it.
Yeah. So. The interesting part to me is that the Shaker is the babysitter, not the Shadow Demon. Like, traditionally, Shadow Demon's the saver, right? But I think their thought process here, Shadow Demon can't save you from multiple heroes. Shaker can stun them and cut them off, right? So it's kind of weird, but Boxy's being forced into a POS 5 Shaker while the SD gets farm priority. Oh, that damage.
Bigger play there. I actually getting... not necessarily too low, but not half life. But some nice counter warding from Extreme Gaming. Roshan still, this was a little bit longer for Roshan, about 50 seconds remaining on the spawn. You can tell XG was checking for it, but third Roshan is around the corner, and it's a very obvious statement to make, KP, but I'm going to say it anyways. I think the next Roshan going to be a big factor for another fight.
That would be a good assessment. Alternatively, in a kind of different way, maybe it's a formula for fighting before Roshan even comes up. So I think they're going to look to clash here. In fact, Vigil's situation, XG playing in their own area is to their advantage here because they went for a defensively oriented vision. Zai, though, I think he's going to try to drag some heroes bottom when he starts to push in here, and then they're going to move in on the west side of the map.
Dr. Raincore, by the way, on Void Spirit to go with that Timeless Relic. I mean, he is just spam on these abilities now. That is kind of crazy. So I continue to feel like that is the key for Liquid in terms of why they still have high hopes in this game of comeback. But you have Visage, by the way, the boots of Baron that he's picked up. He is going to teleport back and join the rest of the team. Got a pretty good push going to the bottom lane, so Leshrac will gladly soak up that farm as his Shivas. EV currently sitting at the backpack, but Arcane Rune bottled up. Looking to use that, but here we go. Third Roshan's up. What? They're all going over.
Ambitious to go in so freely like this, but Zai feels like he can get him without being noticed, courtesy of the fact that he did get the axe. So Silence the Grave, definitely a strong tool, but you can see XG looking for the back line, not able to find it. Stun comes out to Tomb, and Timberman does some follow-up damage in the Silence as well. Centaur controlled, and no help on this dude whatsoever. He's going to get popped. PYW moving to BKB, but feels irrelevant up against Matumbaman. He tries to stand his ground, but now this is a maybe could do it. But Matumbaman, BKB running out, needs to get out of here. But it looks like it's going to be a bit too much to bear. Will get popped, and it looks like XG may be in decent position here, but the buybacks will scare them away.
Yeah, both teams going for the mentality of pick off the back lines. Understandable. So now I know you mentioned the Marcy manning up against the Drow Lion there. Maybe not necessarily felt like she's going to win, but kept her occupied enough to allow the supporting of Morphling and Leshrac to get in there and eventually run down the Drow and kill him. So even though he's kind of sacrificing his life for a good reason on the Marcy, the Familiars, by the way, almost killing Io. Speaking of picking off the back lines, but that protection from XG and outside, he may be regretting this. Gets jumped in from Lou with that Earthshaker. Visage is kind of, hey, I'm not here, go away.
Guys, I know you're all cause, but for the love of God, bring vision! Come on, detection, please! So that's the reason.
The Grave is pretty good when they don't have dust, yeah.
Yeah, it's Silence the Grave kind of feels like an appropriate name for this poor little Io. You saw how close he came to dying. It's just courtesy of this extra damage you put out with the Familiars. I mean, Zai continues to be this absolute thorn in the side of XG. You can see they should be able to get their hands on the Aegis, but in exchange, Zai is doing a lot of damage into the base of the Chinese team here. They need to get back and defend. Stampede, I don't really know how that's going to help them here. In fact, it looks like they were probing for a kill that just didn't exist. And to his credit, Zai got a lot of damage done back at home for that.
Yeah. Definitely a rat Dota going on, and another key to Liquid's potential success in this game is just that, of course, a master of doing so, especially with the sacks, as we talked about earlier. And you know, he kind of with the aura heavy build, which certainly made a lot of sense early on, but eventually does go back to the Yags and going to keep XG on their toes in terms of even though they perhaps want to fight elsewhere or trying to push themselves, they're going to always have to worry about all three of their lanes being pushed out. So we have our first 25 though, KP. That is the Morphling, who does get the 2 waveform charges. Also has a Satanic now, by the way, so clearly worth pointing out. Leshrac also almost level 25. So we'll see what he eventually does choose there. But bottom and picked up, but yeah, I also wanted to note Marcy picking up that Penta Edge sword, and it kind of goes back to you talk about a support hero that could scale plenty of damage.
Yeah, so what we saw in the last fight is it looked a bit underwhelming the way he died, but it wasn't necessarily feed the way he went on that Drow. If you remember back in that fight on the Raiden High Ground, it's like you kind of need to commit with this hero. So what PYW is doing is getting everything he can to stand and stick on a target. Because if you ever have to run away at this stage, you're dead anyway, right? And speaking of things that will not die here, they keep chasing off these birds, but my God, Zai is such a nuisance on these outer lanes.
Yeah, and they're proving to be a bit of an issue here.
What? Sorry, I had to interrupt that for a very important detail. We don't get to see this often, but I'm pretty sure I saw a Dagon queued up for a Void Spirit. All right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That's been queued up.
You don't see often.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to now. I actually had a little bit of a double take there. I was thinking of another neutral line, the Spell Prism, to be fair, but Timeless Relic still obviously very good for all the spell effects of Void Spirit. But speaking of the Dagon, even more benefit you can certainly get out of that, and just having that added burst to try to take down these targets. I mean, we see against the Centaur how quickly they can manage to do so. But really, the IO is going to be having another burst roll to use against it.
Oh, this is so annoying.
Well, they're going on Morphling.
Yeah, it's just so annoying. Like, the damage adds up quickly. I mean, I'll go and credit. The way that this Ag Shard works, multi-shot in conjunction with the stun control, the Earthshaker, they're doing a lot of damage to anyone who tries to poke high ground. It's really annoying for XG.
But look at Zai too. Again, at the same time, we're just gonna keep on rinsing and repeating this. Once again to the top lane, pushing in while that push bottom was happening from XG. Yes, there's the mid racks taken out on Liquid side, but obviously the side of Extreme as well. So that lane kind of evening out in that sense for these two teams. We still have that Aegis for another minute 44, but Morphling continuing to farm in his own jungle. Did go to Silver Edge to try to help perhaps get on some of like the Visage, kind of catch him off guard. Slash the break effect is obviously very beneficial.
Sorry, I'm just still sucked into the Dagon break here. I mean, it's a weird item, right? You don't see it often, but man, I was kind of thinking of this item because I noticed that like there was discussions recently on like how would you buff Dagon, and there was some interesting ideas, like the idea that maybe it applies like a break at level 5, which I like the kind of thinking, but in a different way. Like imagine if it reduced magic resistance like by 5% or 10%. Right, and that's just me trying to get Team Dagon back, by the way, because I'm going to say that should stack. So if 5 members of your team have Dagons and they zap someone, that person should have minus 50% magic resistance. Okay, I'm just using this as a platform. Valve, please hire me. I want to be on the balanced team, so I'll be fired after a week. But it is an item that just for a long time has been looked at, and outside of kind of outliers, hasn't really been considered a mainstay for years in Dota, if ever.
Yeah, certainly it's almost like a meme item in a lot of cases. So, but no, again, there's absolutely the practical use here for Mecca if he does end up going that. Again, he hasn't committed anything yet, sitting on 3,500 gold. 2. Status there. Leshrac, by the way, I don't even know if we mentioned, but actually has his Ags effect now, is also level 25. The Diabolic Edict explosions, that much more powerful. But that nihilism here for the Axe Scepter effect. Fantastic tool as well for the Leshrac to go with his shard that he also has. So,
oh my god, this is annoying.
More damage.
This is so annoying. He's doing it again. Like it's
for XG.
I mean, it's just like we've all been there, right? And I think that there's no denying that while this version of Visage is not as absurd as the initial Axe change when it was absolutely busted and just murdered everyone instantly, it's still incredibly annoying, Breaky. Like, they're always having to go back. He's just making so much space, and now because XG has to rotate back to their side of the map, what do Liquid instantly do? They group up, they smoke, and they know that XG have to address multiple lanes.
There's definitely a bit of Nature's Prophet presence in this game right now, being played by Zion on the Visage.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Yeah, it's Extreme Gaming having to understand how they have to address this, and well, right now they're going to be maybe caught off guard. The smoke play, Boxy was lining up a fissure, not going to happen, but they spoke on the other side. Look at the clash.
See, the shrine, we've been in before. Last time it didn't end well. The BKB at least comes out. It's going to be a Stampede chase in. But somehow the BKB able to back away. Follow through, at least find one. Shadow Demon down. Mike stunned for the moment, but able to back off. It's going to give a soft reset. And Matumba Man now looking to poke. XG may need to get out because the reinitiation comes through. Disco Pony gone. They're going to lose PYW as well. Matumba Man looks like he might forfeit his life to Lou. So it will be an exchange in the end. And one that actually now XG can take control of.
That buyback from Leshrac especially going to secure the fight for XG, and they really want this side. They don't even care about the rest of the fight, how it went pretty well for them. They want the damn Visage, but once again, Zai is going to be a little too slippery. But big picture, absolute satisfaction for XG, I am sure. Yes, Leshrac ended up dying in the fight, but again, the buyback there to now push out once again and benefit as a result of the 1-5. But the biggest key, I mean, Liquid did a great job initially of supporting Mickey and helping to keep him alive, and they kind of retreated. They did this fallback strategy after the Disco Pony, as you're saying, just ran at them with the BKB active, especially with the IO tethered up. He definitely did not want to fight into that. But as soon as it wore off, they turned, and speaking of turning, they're going to control for Knopf right here with the lockdown. It's enough right there. What a blow up from the side of Team Liquid. Now they catch Leshrac. He get away.
He just pulled back. He can't afford to go down like this. This could cost them the whole game if they're not careful, but nice turnaround. The dieback comes out the other way. Beautiful jump by Order 11. Gets rid of Mike, dead for 120 seconds, and they force Matumba Man to commit with his own buyback as well. They'll look to just get whoever they can out, because in the end, XG keep the key detail alive. Disco Pony lives to fight another day.
I don't know what to make of the results of these fights. I mean, especially with the dieback there on Void Spirit, you would think that that's a huge opening for XG, but Of course, not necessarily. I mean, Morphling's dead for another minute now. Not going to fight back unless has a reason to do so, but I don't necessarily see that is going to be happening. So by the time Morphling's up, it'll still be about 30 seconds or so for Void Spirit, but I mean, you see what Liquid's doing. They're actually pushing out the lanes now. Zai, he's level 25 too. He just got that, so he has the extra familiar as a result of that. So another, talk about the presence of Visage, what's been able to do with this rat play. You throw in a third familiar, it just got that much stronger.
Man, I'm kind of curious back to that. Like, we were just talking there about the dieback of Mike. Like, how low on health was he when the Centaur jumped in? Like, because of course the Centaur's double-edged scales with strength, and he has got quite a lot of strength this game. But it looked like he basically took half the health of the Void Spirit on that alone, which is a scary detail for Mike, especially if he wants to scale into more damage like the Dagon. You may need to now sidestep into something that makes you a bit more tanky and survivable instead. Because we have to remember, this is a Void Spirit playing without BKB.
Absolutely, yeah, that's you kind of wonder if that's something that he may think about getting to that point, especially sitting on a dieback now, but doesn't have it queued up at least, so still has that nice Dagon. 3,000 gold saved up. I was going to say, oh yeah, about the Shadow Demon, by the way, something else that's worth kind of talking about as the game continues to develop. We're 52.5 minutes in. We are seeing more and more of this disruption play used to specifically spawn illusions for Drow and sending them out and, you know, helping to push lanes as well. So that's another reason why they were able to get a pretty solid push out here on the side of Liquid. So a nice tool that they have to their advantage for the side of Liquid. But KP, dare I say, we're 53 minutes in. We're getting to a point where tier 5 items are of potential. We got a fourth Roshan though.
Yep.
That could be the next key.
That's the bigger one. There's a wraparound coming in. Team Liquid are smoked and on the prowl. Zai, of course, with that third bird, plenty of lockdown here. If you don't get the BKB off, you're pretty much dead. Stun comes out to 2, follow-up looking good as well. Morphling now in trouble, needs to get him out. BKB just in time. The reload pulls him away though. Now Paparazzi in alone. Turn to Boxy first, takes out the Shaker. Looks like it's going to be a soft reset coming out, but the jumping from Marcy trying to stick on top of the Timberman. The toss back as well. He can't get out of here. He's stuck in the middle with Paparazzi, and Drow is now dead. That's a dieback on the Timberman. XG just may have gotten control of the pit.
Look at that massive splitter. Finally, they kill a Visage again. There's a no buyback on him. And this is the big opener that XG was looking for with 2 dead on the side of Team Liquid. Both the Visage and the Drow. They're going to go for the easy Roshan. That's going to be a Refresher Shard and another Ag Blessing for them to take advantage of. And likely to, of course, just push off of this. So I don't know if it's absolutely the game-winning fight right there, but it's looking like XG is going to help us secure game number 1, unless some way, somehow, can Liquid now hold this. But again, it just goes back to so well played by the Marcy specifically. We talk about the BKB activation on Leshrac. He just pops it, they stampede, and they just go beeline for the Drow Ranger. And you can't do anything against that combo. You really can't, other than just turn around and run and hope for the best. And that simply wasn't enough. So great strategy, good execution from XG. And now they're trying to close out this game 1, KG.
50 seconds until Lee Zai is up to try and do some creep cutting, because it looks like Mike can't do it alone. And you can't even play the Lord cheeses at this point, as XG are the one with multiple cheeses to work with. Neither support willing to die that easily. Stampede jumping comes through, and Insania will not even get to his found safely. Tier 4 soon to fall, and I think this game is going to be done. XG will be slowed down by the glyph, but we're still 40 seconds without a drown. It looks like the Chinese team is going to win game 1 of this series. Although Bonzi, no, let's not do it. Here, folks.
Hey, it was flashy, but it ain't gonna result in much, and eventually result in his death. But the absolute is true. The GG's come out, and game 1 is officially in the books here of this series to kick things off. So XP up 1-0 against Liquid again. There's a lot of matches to be played, not only over the month of October for all this TI11, but here especially.